All right, all right. Hey, hey, goodness to you. It's Sporty King. And I always say goodness because I don't know whether you're watching morning, afternoon, or evening. But isn't it great to have good in front of your salutation? We've got less than a minute to go for today's this Friday's Gift Friday broadcast. And I'm just getting on. I'm trying something new. Well, I'm not actually actually doing something different, not so much trying something new. I just got on a minute in advance since today is really not such an interactive day. And I believe that most people do end up watching the video. Today will also be my final time broadcasting using the StreamYard technology. So next week, I'll be figuring out how to do it. I'll be just using actually broadcasting on Facebook only and then posting it to YouTube and LinkedIn, okay? Because StreamYard went up 76%. Y'all, I'm not doing it. Hey, it's time. It's time for the message. So, welcome to Gift Friday. I call it Gift Friday because so often we hear people say TGIF, thank God it's Friday. But I say, what allure does Friday have to the person who took their last breath on Thursday? So I use what I learned through Psalm 92 and 2, and that is, it is good to proclaim your unfailing love in the morning, your faithfulness in the evening. Therefore, instead of using TGIF, what I use is TGIT. Thank God it's today. And then TGIT, thank God it's tonight. Oh man, I love that scripture. Well, that's not scripture. That I love I love how it leads me to this scripture. And that is to Matthew 6 and 34, which says, so don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow's trouble, for tomorrow will bring its own worries. TGIT, thank God it's tonight. Today's trouble is enough for today. TGIT, thank God it's today. Yes, darkness always precedes the light. And so therefore, what I want to do is not just throw TGIF away, but let's see if we can find another use for it. How about TGIF? Trusting God is free. Think about what it costs for you to receive the greatest gift of every day, and that is the gift of waking up. Doesn't cost you a dime. But speaking of cost, let's do some math. Let's do some subtraction and some addition. Let's subtract the T in TGIF from the front and add it to the back. And what we get is GIFT, gift. God is for today. You see, that's what the gift of today is, and what everybody needs to recognize and enjoy and relive as often as possible. I I didn't know I was going to say that, but don't you have to relive each day? What's going on, Bruce? Good to see you. Good to see you. Yep, vote. I voted early, as you see on my profile picture. So, and yeah, so vote early, and everybody, and it's funny, that's actually an incomplete sentence we use, because certainly we're saying vote early or vote and vote my way, but let's recognize what it's really asking us to do, and that is vote, because the key is we should know how people feel. So don't get upset that someone doesn't vote your way. Let's understand that there are differences, and in fact, that is what Kamala Harris is saying. But I'm certainly hoping and believing that she'll say it beyond election season, that we have to search for the commonalities. I think that sometimes those get lost because we see so many times that evil seems to be ruling the day, but it doesn't. It really doesn't. You have to make sure that your voice is heard. And it just so happens that that's the message today, Bruce. So thank you just having me digress. Okay. But digression is also for progression. Okay. So let's move forward with today's message. Okay. So Gift Friday is the online sharing of one of my inspirational, positive, poetic messages, as well as an opportunity for me, after I'm finished with the poem, the message, I drop it in my feed, and you can download your own colorful keepsake copy, and that'll be my gift from me to you. So here you'll hear me read it before at the end you'll get the copy. All right. This week's poem is from my book, I found out I'm dying, a celebration of life, a storyline in poetry about living this gift called life. So often people get caught up in the headlines. I found out I'm dying. Oh my God, is he about to die? No. Let's learn to look at the subtitles in life, which have more of a meaning than the headlines. Goes right with what I was saying about Bruce, about vote the way I want you to. The headline is vote, but vote in my favor. The subtitles are the key. I'm not talking about dying in this book. I'm talking about living. Absolutely talking about living. We're all going to die. Some people, act like they're never going to die, but you start dying from the day you're born. Get over it. We hope to die of old age, but you don't know. I bet you can think of somebody, if you want to bother writing it down, at every age of your life. I bet you can think of a name of a person who has died at that age. Might not be somebody you totally knew, but in most cases you probably did. I digress. I progress and I move on. Today's poem is called Don't Shoot the Messenger. Don't Shoot the Messenger. And January 22nd, 1975 was my first day in corporate America at the Wall Street Journal, where I started as an advertising sales messenger. Now, I would retire from the Wall Street Journal 18 years later as a classified advertising sales manager. And this week's poem is ideal for your engaging smile during your next virtual meeting or, of course, in your day-to-day in-person meetings as well. But it's a reminder about who the messenger is in our life. And to give it some 2024 context, it's not because I'm afraid of being shot, but that it was inspired by my October 1995 attendance at the Million Man March. That was such a peaceful experience for me. And it gave me the feeling I can imagine so many of our wonderful young people are feeling through their engagement in the Black Lives Matters and peaceful protests for human rights, out of the darkness for suicide prevention, awareness, and its corresponding spotlight on mental health. It's, when you can attend something peaceful, what a joy it gives to you. So I actually opened the poem with one of my favorite lines from The Wizard of Oz. And you'll recognize, remember, and realize it. It's a message for you to trust yourself rather than give someone else power over your life. So here's Don't Shoot the Messenger. In fact, pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. Lift your spirits up to the Lord, whereby you can consciously accept all the beauty that surrounds you. Understand that your opinion cannot and will not be heard in the quiet of your actions. And what have you done for you lately? For as you look out for number one, you allow us the nourishment of your predestined success. Wait, don't go away, man. In fact, don't go away at all. Come together. Come together and give thanks that you have been blessed to add this experience to your life's story. And let it be an experience. Learn from it. Live through it. Laugh with it. And let your actions be heard so that as you do unto others, the most important message will be sent. Yours. And it's not that the older supporters' feelings don't count, but I believe there's a different energy in how our young protesters approach the world today. In some ways, the older generations marching and thinking it was, hey, maybe this time it's going to work. While the younger generation marches and thinks, you need to listen to me. And everybody says that. You need to listen to me. And most seem to forget about the part where they listen as well. Meanwhile, I'm getting another messenger experience now through my speaking career, which I call from messenger to manager to messenger. My life from being a messenger at Wall Street Journal to a manager at Wall Street Journal to a messenger now as a speaker. And I'm going to add another message to this week's gift. And it's from the book of Jonah in the Bible. Now, in the book of Jonah 1-4, it says, and here's a wrap up about the book of Jonah. Jonah is such a short book for the powerful message we so easily remember from it. And I've been on the road the last few weeks, not reading my Bible, but one of my practices is taking my Bible along whenever I travel. My pet name for my Bible is the passenger. So when I drive, I keep it on the front seat. I've had a mixture of driving and flying that has resulted in my leaving the passenger in the car. And even during rush times such as this, I will touch and thank my passenger in lieu of reading it. So sometimes if I'm in a hurry, I just touched my passenger, even here in the house, instead of reading it. And he's back at this station now. And what I want to share is how I've been using the story of Jonah with my military family. And speaking of my family, hey, Geraldine, my Grant Projects family, we grew up together. Okay. But I've been using the story of Jonah with my military family. And I first mentioned to them how important it is to let the school know that a parent is deploying or back from deploying, because so often our military kids mature faster than our civilian kids. And that deployment could result in a possible change of behavior in the child. So if I always tell them, make sure you let the principal, the teacher, and the guidance counselor know that you have a deploying parent or a parent back from deployment. I also offer you that gift as something to let your school know about whatever your child is going through. Sometimes if there's a traumatic experience in your family, maybe you need to let the school know because it impacts your child's behavior. Or maybe ask the school to let you know, to monitor them and let you know if they seem to be acting differently in school because such and such has happened. And, maybe they don't show it to you when they get home, but they may be acting out in school. Hey, I always tip my hats to parents. It's a tough job, okay? But here's a short story that I always give to my military families, and you'll totally appreciate it as you hear me talk about it from the eyes of that include a military child named Susie. So this is Jonah and Susie. Fifth grade teacher is talking to her class about mammals. And she says, though the whale is the largest mammal on the face of the earth, his throat is actually so small that it can't swallow a human being. Well, Susie, the military kid, raised her hand and said, teacher, that's not true. A whale can swallow a human being. And the teacher's like, oh my God, these military kids, they're so outspoken. So, look, Susie, thanks for participating, but a whale actually cannot swallow a human being. And Susie said, well, a whale swallowed Jonah. Oh, a whale swallowed Jonah. That's what I meant to do. A whale swallowed Jonah. And the teacher said, oh my God, good answer. They're creative too. But I can't let this kid take over my class. She said, look, Susie, thanks for participating because everybody has a different learning style. And your comments and questions could be helping one of your classmates. But the fact of the matter is the whale is the largest mammal on the face of the earth. His throat is actually so small that it cannot swallow a human being. And there's no actual proof that a whale did swallow Jonah. Class was like, wow. Susie said, well, I guess I'll just have to ask Jonah when he gets to heaven. And the classmates are chuckling. They go, Susie, get her. And the teacher's like, oh my God, I'm going to have to shut this kid down hard. I'm not going to let her take over my class. So she says, well, Susie, what if Jonah went to hell? The class got quiet. Susie didn't even blink. Susie said, well, then you ask him. And so as I finished that joke and we have a good laugh in the auditorium or the meeting room, I then offer them the question that I ask you now. And that is, what conversation are you having with the Susies in your life? You see, maybe when you deploy, as I'm talking to them, maybe when they leave the deployment, they're Susie, but when they come back, they're Suzanne, because everyone changes during a deployment, but also during a separation and also during everyday life. The Susies in your life will grow. And so, what you want to do is remember that we are all seeking messengers and being sought after as a messenger. Take a stand, speak your mind, and deliver your message. Believe me, you won't get shot. Thanks a lot for joining me on Gift Friday today. And thank you for the laugh, Bruce. And, oh, man, I tell you that I just love telling that joke. It's one of my favorites. But just remember, don't shoot the messenger. The messenger is responsible for the delivery, not always the results. And that's how you have to also take some of that weight off of your shoulder of thinking that you have to please everybody and you have to be responsible for everybody. You're responsible for yourself. Make sure that you deliver the truth so that when someone does decide, because someone in your face, they may decide to show you that you didn't get through to them. They may not agree with you in that moment. Because so many things that happen in our lives, a lot of times we need to experience it to believe what the other person may have experienced, because they know that doesn't happen to me. So no, I'm not with you. So deliver your message and recognize that you don't have to. And then when someone's delivering their opposite opinion or another opinion, don't get mad at them. Understand that they have as good a reason for believing what they believe as you have for believing what you believe. Don't shoot the messenger. Make sure that you shoot your vision, your sights to the Lord. I just made that up. I like them. But if you like a copy of the book, don't worry. You can let me know that you like a copy of the poem. I'm going to drop it in the threads. But the book, you can just let me know, and I will make sure I get that to you. This will be my last broadcast on through StreamYard, because I'll be using broadcasting strictly doing Facebook Live until I get it all figured out. Because gosh, StreamYard went up 76%, y'all, and I'm just not going to do it right now. So I'm just letting you know that. Try to join me in on Facebook starting next week as I figure this whole new thing out. And I think what I can do is just do the live on Facebook and then drop the copy in LinkedIn and from YouTube. But thank you for joining me. And remember, Gift Friday is because God is for today. This is the day that the Lord has made. And blessings to you too, Ronnie, coming in from South Carolina. Bruce, I didn't mention, was coming in from Chicago. And Geraldine, who I mentioned, my childhood friend, also grew up in the same building with me and Ronnie at 3170 Grant for Life. Okay. And see there Ronnie saying, hey, Geraldine. See, that's one of the joys of the live broadcast as well, as giving other people a chance to catch up with one another. So God bless y'all all. Have a wonderfully safe weekend as we get ready to close out October, because, next week, and Grant for Life. Yep. We have such great memories. A lot of, you hear stereotypes about the projects, but I got to tell you, I got to be honest with you. I grew up in the projects in New York and they were wonderful. It wasn't until I moved to Chicago that I saw the state of some of the projects there. And I said, oh, this is where the stereotype went. There was some bad projects in Chicago. A lot of good ones too, but some pretty bad ones. And I got to give Chicago credit. They tore some of those bad ones down and put up new housing. That could be a whole nother argument, because possibly the people may have been taken out of where they had to live. See, there's always something. That's where the challenge of being the messenger is that you have to try to be neutral and see things from another point of view. Such is life, y'all. God bless you. Keep your gift alive, and I'll see you soon. Good. Before I got to go, Ronnie, yeah, Geraldine said, what's going on? So thank y'all for joining me, and I'll see you again. Be safe. All right, over and out. Ciao.